I've got to tell you, with so many people working at home on Zoom, style has kind of gone out the window. A lot of people are wearing sweatpants. But joining me in studio today, Michael Rodriguez. He's a stylist to the stars, and he says looking elegant should never go out of style. That's next on the Jeff Crilley Show.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show. So many of you know I was a TV reporter for 25 years, and I wore the uniform. You know, it was a suit and tie, and then I got into public relations and advertising and felt like I need to still be dressy but somewhat cool and casual, so my wife starts buying me Robert Graham. But I got to tell you, I feel underdressed next to my next guest, Michael Rodriguez. He's a stylist to the stars. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, you look so dapper. I have to ask, I mean, when you position yourself as a style and fashion expert, you can't have a bad day, can you? It's your brand.
Sure, absolutely. Well, for me, I get inspired by different things, people, places, ambiance. So depending on whatever I wake up, whatever mood I'm in, my style can take me any direction.
Really?
Yeah,
now, who inspires you? We were talking before the show about a movie from your childhood.
Yes.
and my high school years. What movie were you describing?
American Gigolo.
It was such a great movie.
Absolutely, and the reason that's such a heavy style influence with me is because that was the movie that put Giorgio Armani's brand on the map within the United States. And if you still look at that movie today, it just still feels the clothing in that movie is very sexy and still feels relevant.
Yes.
And that's just the type of clothing you want to wear that's timeless.
Okay, so when COVID hits and everybody's working from home in sweatpants,
Sure.
I mean, do you cry just a little bit? Does your heart sink?
I do. That's the general mentality with everything that's happened in our society, unfortunately. But we still have Zoom meetings. We still have to have a sense of purpose when we get up every morning. So I tell people that you still need to be expressive in whatever that means for you, however you interpret that. It's very important to keep our sanity, so to speak, especially now more than ever.
And there's millions of people out of work. So,
Yes.
I mean, kind of looking on point is really important.
Absolutely.
Your image.
It is. And brand is irrelevant. I always tell people you don't have to wear expensive clothing to look good. You just have to wear clothing and accessories that complement your physical attributes, your personality traits, your lifestyle. That's what's important.
Okay, I want to talk about your philosophy when you
Sure.
meet a customer for the first time, male or
Yes.
female. Are you going through a process with them?
Absolutely. I pay attention to detail, not just with everything that I do in terms of my own individual style, but also when I meet a potential client. So I gauge how they carry themselves, how they express themselves, how they talk about clothing, because it's okay not to know a lot about clothing or accessories, but everybody has to start somewhere. So every aspect of that, their lifestyle, what they do for a living, their budget, because if somebody's working with a particular budget, we want to be able to maximize that to their advantage. So, there's definitely a scientific formula for each individual client we work with.
Outstanding. We've got some pictures we want to roll through, and I want
Sure.
you to kind of talk about what we're
Absolutely.
seeing. This first picture, is this a client of yours?
Oh, wow. Yes, this is. So actually, this is myself and my client Julio Gonzalez, who's very eccentric like I am. This is for the State of the Union address, which is why I'm in our patriotic colors of the red and the blue.
Awesome.
That's actually a smoking jacket prototype that I doled out. That was the first one that I did. So we were trying to take what Hugh Hefner did, but make it tasteful.
Oh, I like that.
Not quite so gaudy.
I like that. Okay, the next one.
So this is at an exclusive event recently, actually at the Mansion on Turtle Creek, who we love, the staff there, they're so accommodating. Now that velvet jacket there, if you look at it, it's just, you can feel the texture and the color. It's just very vibrant. It's, it's got an aura, and so does the gentleman wearing it, of course.
Yes.
And it's timeless, most importantly. He can wear this 20 years from now, provided he can still fit in the clothing and still look great.
And this picture, this to me looks like
GQ
magazine.
You know, this is me in if we talk about color, right? That fuchsia, fierce pink, just casual and vibrant on a Saturday morning. Yeah, that's just me in my element, I'd say.
I love it. Okay, so when you're working with a client who, let's suppose the client is very conservative.
Sure.
Can you get them a little bit out of their comfort zone?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the key, is we don't want extremes when we're starting out with somebody and just kind of building a foundation. We want to keep them within the realm of what they're used to, but to step outside the box just a little bit. So maybe that's with accessories.
Yes.
We add a little bit of color or texture with the accessories they wear. And what happens is when people start to do that and implement that, they see both in their personal and professional lives how that kind of benefits them. So I don't create the rules of society, but I always want my clients to kind of be a step ahead. And when they start expressing themselves that way, that's really what gets the ball rolling and gets people very interested and say, you know what, I want to see how far I can take this.
Yes.
So that's where the change starts to happen, the magic.
And people do make an impression within the first few seconds, right?
Absolutely. We live in a world, unfortunately, where we are judged by how we look and how we carry ourselves. And I'm not trying to get anybody to be anything but themselves. Everybody just needs to be themselves and be expressive, especially now more than ever, where companies have a more relaxed kind of dress code.
Yes.
So they're basically, I interpret that as, hey, you can be yourself, be expressive with how you dress and who you are. Why not take that to utilize that to the full advantage there?
So I love your look. Tell me what you
Thank you. So
did.
I'm very big on monochromatic looks. Okay. So I love wearing one color in different shades and doing that from head to toe. It's a pure coincidence that I'm here in your studio that's outlined in blue and wearing blue as well, but that's how it works. The ambiance complements the ensemble, and it all comes together.
Now, do you have glasses to match the outfit?
I do. I've got the light blue glasses. I'm very big on these light tinted shades and aviators and these style of sunglasses that are timeless, but I love wearing color and being vibrant, and there's something about looking at the world through a shade of color that just makes it a little easier and more fun to live in.
Okay, one of my favorite movies, Clueless.
Yes.
And I'm told that she had something like 50 wardrobe changes or something.
I'm not surprised to hear that. That movie was such a big kind of fashion influence in my life too, just seeing how people operated in the left coast out in Beverly Hills, which is known for their extravagant luxury and shopping, and just so iconic for that era.
Okay, and so here we are in Texas, and there's kind of a cowboy cool look here.
There is.
Have you ever worked with a client that wants to be a little Western?
Absolutely. So I think that if you live here in Dallas or in Texas in general, every man or woman should have a pair of cowboy boots, because when I put mine on, I feel like a rock star. And you can do ranch wear and Western wear and do it tastefully and in a chic manner. So absolutely, I think that should be incorporated every now and then. A Texas tuxedo perhaps.
Tell us about your company.
My Regality, the meaning behind that is that with the pieces that we create for our clients, both male and female, they have the privilege of creating an identity for. So if we design a cocktail jacket for you, for instance, we don't allow that to be duplicated, and it's going to be something that's very personal and expressive to you that we won't offer to another client.
How do you run into new clients? How do you find?
I'll tell you, I just kind of navigate life through just being myself, and I think because of I'm so big on wearing color and texture, and perhaps that just creates a presence that people are just kind of like, what's going on there? They want to find out for themselves what's doing, and I get into a little bit about what I do, and eventually people reach out when they like. I don't ever pressure. I think that when it comes to creative, collaborative kind of industry, like with what I do, where we focus on exclusivity, it has to be collaborative, it has to be inspired. So I let my clients reach out whenever they're inspired to create, and when you do that, the work is just the most enhanced that can it be.
Okay, when did you find your style? I mean, if we go back, everybody's a little bit embarrassed of their high school photo.
Sure.
But if I went back to your high school album, would you say I was on point?
Yeah, and I went through my phases of being a skater. I was an athlete. I did all that, but I always was very particular about how I put myself together. So, we change in life. We evolve as individuals, and I think that our fashion and our individual style is kind of reflective of that. It should always be timeless, it should always be personal, but sure, how you dressed as an 18-year-old kid is not going to be how somebody dresses when they're 40 years old and they're comfortable in their own skin and they know who they are, so there's going to be some change for sure.
Okay, how about when you're working with an older client, maybe somebody over 60,
sure,
and they're trying to look too cool?
I'll tell you what, it's not even that they try and look cool, but they're very stubborn, they're set in their ways, so if they're reaching out to me, it's because they want some kind of change. And again, it resorts back to just being more expressive. I'll gauge that person's lifestyle, kind of what they do, their physical attributes, and then of course there's going to be colors and that complement those things. And we want to just make that as enhanced as possible for the individual.
Outstanding. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's your camera right over there. I want you to look into the camera and
Sure.
talk to people about how they need to up their style game.
Well, for style, ladies and gentlemen, what I can say is just make it personal. So you don't have to wear the most expensive clothing. You can wear high end, you can wear low end, but it has to be clothing and accessories that just complements your attributes. You want to stay within your budget, of course. So if you're working with a fixed budget, just maximize that as much as you can. And never focus on trends. So anything that's trendy or that's just appropriate for a season, we don't want anything to do with. We want timeless clothing that you can wear now, that you can wear 5-10 years from now and still look great in.
Outstanding.
Regardless of age.
You've been an amazing guest, and next time you're on the show, I'm going to up my game.
I love it. Look forward to that. Happy to inspire that
You
way.
bet. Let's end the segment by putting up his website. It is MR Style Consulting. That's Michael Rodriguez StyleConsulting.com. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's an absolute pleasure.
You bet. And that's it for now. We'll see you next time.